What's going on, everyone? Matt Dinerman here in the Oaklawn Today studios. One more edition of Out of the Starting Gate here, sponsored by Oaklawn Park. It's been a fun season, but we have more work to do this week, and it's going to be a really fun week here at Oaklawn. Thursday, Friday, Saturday racing. Since it's the last week, everybody's trying to get one more race into their horses here. A lot of good conditions for horses to find that fit their specific needs, which means we're getting big fields. We're getting competitive racing. We're getting good quality racing. We're going to see that all this week, Thursday through Saturday. We'll talk about the major events this week in a little bit. We will also talk at the beginning of this show about the big performances last week. And then, of course, we have to get into the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. Of course, these races, and really Louisville, Kentucky is what the eyes of the racing world will be focused on this week, including that 152nd Kentucky Derby. So without further ado, let's talk about Oaklawn-based things first, and we start with a recap of last week. We go to the fifth race on Friday, number 3, Super Happy, trained by Lonnie Briley, owned by Norman Stables, of course, the same human connections of Cole Battle, that fan favorite that won the Rebel last year. Let's take a look at Super Happy's win here. He got a 79 buyer for this, loved the slop. He was racing over the wet going here, went gate to wire, a $105,000 sale purchase here for the Lonnie Briley barn. This horse in the mornings, I watched him on the Oaklawn workout portal. He's always been a horse that showed that he had some speed, looked like he had a little bit of ability. He's not the most physically imposing horse. He's a little bit on the smaller side, but he looked like he was pretty speedy fairly effortlessly. Also, in my opinion, before his first race, I thought maybe this horse might need a race or two to really figure out what the racing game was about. He just seemed like a horse that went around there in the morning, showed some natural ability, but didn't really show like he was putting that much into his works. He was just naturally speedy. So that indicated to me maybe this horse would need a race or two to really show his best, and that was exactly what happened. He didn't run fantastic his first race, looked like he needed it. Second race he improved, he ran third, and then he came back in third lifetime start, put it all together, and won the race. And Super Happy with this one in mind. I don't think this was a wet track, happy horse performance. I think that this is the type of horse that he can run on the wet, he can run on the fast going as well. But that third career race, with each race he's getting better, but that third career race really put it all together there. So that's why I wanted to note him. Yeah, he's not going to run in a legit graded stake and run well right now. But he's the horse that if he continues to progress, he might be okay down the line. So that's why I wanted to note him. That's number 3, Super Happy from race 5 on Friday. We go to the 9th race, the Southern Hospitality Overnight Stakes. Here's the stretch run replay. Have Faith got a 77 buyer for this. Daughter of Vacoma here. She was purchased for a bargain, just $35,000. From 7 starts for the Dallas Stewart barn, she's won twice, 3 seconds, with earnings of $176,823. So her connections, her human connections, have made money with this filly in a significant amount more than what they purchased her for. The Southern Hospitality Overnight Stakes was for 3-year-old filly sprinters, and she got some black type here with this win. So a nice effort from Have Faith. Also a very nice effort from the jockey Christian Torres. Saved ground on the far turn, cut the corner when he knew there was going to be an opening on the inside, and had the whole inside part of the track to move forward, continue that momentum, pass the whole field, and went from last to first to win this race. Good effort by horse, good effort by jockey. Have Faith is one that I think down the road could be a ceiling there in terms of talent. As much as she ran very well here, I don't see her being a graded stakes filly, at least right now. I'm hard-pressed to find her being one down the road unless she really takes steps forward. But she's one that's really been a cool little filly to follow, especially given that bargain price that they bought her for. And Dallas Stewart's done a good job with her. So Have Faith, obviously one we have to mention here on Out of the Starting Gate. We turn the page to Saturday. Let's go to race number 8. Number 5, Crushed It, gets an 86 buyer for this win right here, going the short stretch 1 mile. 2-length win here. Why I wanted to note this horse was because early in his career, my first year here, he was a younger horse. He started here in the Brad Cox barn, showed a lot of greenness, but a little bit of ability as well. And it took him a long time to figure things out. I mean, this horse for a while was a little bit disappointing. Wasn't running well. He was running inconsistent. He's moved a few different barns. But Mike Maker's had him for a few starts now, and he has figured this horse out. Last time he got a 98 buyer before this run at Oaklawn. He got a 98 buyer for a romp in New York at an Aqueduct going a 1-turn mile. Now, here's the thing about this. when you have a horse that goes a one-turn mile, some of them really take that one-turn mile well. They go to a two-turn mile and they're not nearly as effective, and vice versa. But Crushed It showed that he's solid at two-turn, 1 mile distances, as we saw in this last race here, and most of his races were at the one-turn mile. He showed that going a one-turn mile, he's very good with his 98 win, that Beyer win in New York. So I wanted to note him because I think he's a horse that, since they've thought a lot of him, just his story, early on in his career he disappointed some people. I think that he's an older horse going in the right direction. So he's another one like Have Faith. I'd be hard-pressed to see him in a one-turn mile like the Churchill Downs one day. The Churchill Downs Stakes this weekend featuring Knightsbridge Cornucopia. I mean, I don't think he's at that level. I don't think he ever will be. I'd be shocked if he ever does get to that level. But he's still the type of horse that can win high-level allowance races and maybe even the right stakes race if Mike Maker finds a spot for him, whether it be a minor stake at a bigger track, maybe a little bit more prestigious grade 3 at a more prestigious smaller track. Sometimes, for example, Lone Star's got the Texas Mile, for example. That's a little more prestigious in their neck of the woods versus a minor stake at Churchill Downs. You're looking for graded stakes wins. Maybe that's the type of race Crushed It can run in down the line, but he's a horse that's a little bit intriguing in my opinion in that respect. So he is one we wanted to highlight. Also on Saturday, we go to race number 10, number 3. Queen's Martini won this race here, the $200,000 Dig a Diamond Stakes. I got a 90 buyer for this. 8-1 upset here. Was coming out of sprint races, and if this race was 1 mile and 5 inches, she wouldn't have won. She would have run second, but she doesn't want to go any farther than 1 mile, but they stretched her out successfully. Team Ron Moquet. David Cabrera board really liked this ride that he gave this filly. Midway on the far turn, he knew he had some horse, even with a price horse, knew he had a shot to win, made an aggressive move to get to the front and say, if anybody wants to come and get me, then get me. I'll tip my cap to you if you do. And nobody did. And what I really liked about that ride is the aggressiveness. I've spoken about it before on the pre-race show with Nancy Holthus. I've spoken about it on here once or twice. Aggressive riding wins races. Passive riding loses races. And David gave an aggressive ride. And I think that made the difference, making that early, mid-far turn, mid-race rally to get to the lead and try to hold off the contenders. If he was more patient and passive, I don't think he wins that race. So that was a good effort by the jockey, good effort by the filly, Queen's Martini. I thought Pronghorn in this race was a very unlucky loser. On the contrary to Queen's Martini, she sort of got held up behind a couple horses, sort of had to wait a little longer than probably Eric Asmussen wanted to, and she lost by about this much. Didn't quite find the wire in time. With a better trip, she probably wins, not taking anything away from Queen's Martini. But Pronghorn, I thought this was a solid effort, and she is a very well-bred filly by Justify out of a Grade 1 place mare, Donna Veloce, who is continuing to improve pretty much every race the last 3 or 4 starts for the Steve Asmussen barn. So I think if Pronghorn runs in a high-level allowance in Kentucky, a minor stake somewhere, she's going to be one that you really want to play back, that being Pronghorn, the runner-up finisher in this race. Finally, standout sensation. She ran third, went off at 6-5. No excuses. I mean, she stalked the pace. She's probably a little more effective when she's on the lead. There was a very speedy filly to the outside, run a mile in my shoes, so they opted to sit off and track. Got a good tracking trip. She ran an average third. Didn't run bad, didn't run great, just ran okay. And I think she fits at these types of levels. Minor stakes. She won earlier in the year a stake here at Oaklawn. But she ran fine, just not good enough to beat the top 2. And I think if she runs in a race like something like $100,000 stake in Texas maybe, or a minor stake in Kentucky, that's about where I think standout sensation finds. Great, really nice mare that I'd love to own if I was an owner of racehorses, but she was third best on this day and got bet pretty hard for the Kin and LaRose barn, went off as the 6-5 favorite. Finally, we go to Sunday's 8th race. This is the Majestic Overnight Stakes. Here is the replay, the stretch run for this. Spring Dancer, number 4, makes it 2 in a row for trainer Randy Morse, a daughter of the big beast here, a really good sprinter for the Leblong family. She's earned Spring Dancer over $300,000 now in her career. She looked just like she did 2 starts ago in this stake win. Lost the lead in upper stretch, found more under encouragement, showed game this. She's got a lot of grit. She's shown that 2 races in a row now. Similar to Have Faith, crushed it, probably Queen's Martini. There's a ceiling there. I don't think Spring Dancer is going to win any grade 1s anytime soon. I don't think she ever will. But she's also the type that she tries really hard. She's a very nice filly to have and own and train for Randy Morrison. Now she'll probably see her in some sort of maybe graded stakes action. I would think maybe they try to find a grade 3 with her to try to get some graded stakes placing at the very least. They've got that black type with this win in the Majestic Overnight Stakes. Spring Dancer showing a lot of grit and determination here, out finishing Anna Karina, the runner-up finisher. That was on Sunday, the Majestic Overnight Stakes. Now we go to this week, closing week, Thursday through Saturday racing. Thursday, we'll start there at 12:45 p.m. first post, 10-race program. We've got a stake, 2 allowance races. There's a maiden special weight sprinkled in there, featuring a full sibling to Cyberknife, an Arkansas Derby winner and multiple grade 1 winner. But we're going to talk about the feature race, race number 9, the $150,000 Natural State Breeders' Stakes for filly and mare routers. Here's the field. They're going to go a mile, short stretch 1 mile here. Number 9, Kernon, entered in a race that's a lot easier over the weekend, so I would imagine that she's coming out. That's the case. We'll have a field of 9, assuming there aren't any other scratches come post time. We'll talk about 2 runners highlighting Appealing Addie and Queen Mallard. Let's start with my top pick, Queen Mallard. Here's the replay for her win. She was coming out of sprint races, seemed very speedy. Keith Asmussen, he has great hands on a horse, and he's really, really good at getting horses that are speedy, that want to go, go, go. He's great at getting them to relax, and he did that with this filly. It is not easy, and credit also to the Ron Moquette team. It's not easy to get a filly like this. It's very fast in sprint. She can go 21 and change in sprints if you ask her to, and do it and be happy to do it. To get her out of the gate and immediately get her to relax, not get rank, I thought it was a good job by Keith. A credit to the filly's mind as well, Queen Mallard, and also, of course, the team at the Ron Moquette barn. But she was very push button in this mile and a 16th win. And I like that. I'm hoping that if there is some speed to her inside, drawn towards the outside, Keith will have options to maybe track a little bit. She's got a lot of natural speed. If he wants her on the lead, he can get her to the lead. But she's my pick in the race. I think that route race was solid. I think she can improve off of its second start routing ever in her life. So Queen Mallard is one I'm really interested to see how she produces in this stake here without the Lasix and the Natural State Breeders' Stakes. But she was very push button in her last race. That gives me confidence that Keith can pretty much ask her to do whatever, and she's happy to do it under Mr. Asmussen. Another runner will show Appealing Addie. Here's her replay the last time she routed 3 starts ago. I like her. She's always been a runner that has worked really well in the mornings. I mean, she can go 48 and change on a hammer lock, and she can outwork open company stakes horses. We've seen it before. She broke her maiden first time out, the very first day I ever called here at Oaklawn a few seasons back, by the length of the stretch it appeared. I remember Julian Leperoux was aboard that day, and then she sort of disappointed, just didn't run great races. It was a little bit inconsistent. And you just question, boy, maybe she's just one of these morning glory types that shows the same speed. She can go 48, 49 in the mornings, no problem, but she can't go any quicker than that. Her last 3 races have been really solid. She's really shown that ability that I think a lot of us thought she had, including the barn. I know they've thought she's had some ability for quite some time. The one concern I have about her is that I just question whether 2 turns is not her best distance. Obviously, she won at it 3 starts ago. No reason why she can't go 2 turns and do it well enough. But I feel like she needs to be on her A game to beat this field here. And I think that she's at her A game going a sprint distance. She ran Open Company last time out. She faced Open Company, I should say, and finished second to next out winner Dare to Fly, and ran a really good race in that first level allowance. But I don't know if she can run quite that fast going the 2-turn distances. I think she's better at 1 turn. She's versatile. She can go a mile, okay, but I think she's better at 1 turn. That's the reservation I have. So I picked Queen Mallard in here. I think Appealing Addie very much is interesting as well. Those are 2 of the probable 9 horses in the starting gate for the $150,000 Natural State Breeders' Stakes. We're going to Friday now, 12-race card, really good card. We've got 3 allowance races, a couple of main special weights. First post is 12:45 on Friday as well. You can also watch and wager on the Kentucky Oaks and the other races in Kentucky on this day. Let's take a look at race number 9, one of 2 stakes races on the program on Friday. This is the Bachelor Stakes for 3-year-olds at 6 furlongs. Stradale number 6, Kaleem Shah, the owner, trainer Steve Asmussen. They went in on this horse to purchase this horse for a lot of money, and he looks like a very talented horse at the very least, so that's a positive when you get a horse that they purchased for a good chunk of change. Let's take a look at his last race here with Keith Asmussen aboard. I thought this was a good race, and what I loved about this is he got a good experience. Off a little bit of a layoff, this horse sat behind the pace, got some dirt in his face. Keith moved him through between horses. He did it no problem. He was very push button. I've never been around this horse. Just watching him in this race, I figure this horse is a really good mind. He seems like the type of horse that you ask him to do whatever, nothing phases him. He's happy to do it. That's a positive. I think he's versatile, and he's the one to beat. I also think he has a lot of talent, and I feel that he can improve off that last race, which was a really good setup for this, the Bachelor Stakes for Team Asmussen. Oscar's Hope, number 8 in this race, also one I want to show. Here's his win 2 starts ago. It was a stakes event here at Oaklawn. Since then, he's run once at Keeneland. He lost by a narrow margin in the Lafayette Stakes at Keeneland. Oscar's Hope, he's a son of Twirling Candy. He's really done not much wrong. 6 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, 1 third. Just never runs a bad race. And even though he's a blue-collar horse, he's not the flashiest guy in the world, but he's admirable because he always shows up. As long as Kinnan LaRose, his trainer, was previously in the barn of Tom Amoss, now with Kinnan, as long as they put this horse in the right spots, that's the key. He's going to show up. He's going to run his race. I think this is a good spot. I feel like a horse like Stradale can beat a horse like him. I think Stradale is really a horse that could be a legit graded stakes, grade 2, grade 1 horse. Not right now, but down the road. He has that profile to me, a Steve Asmussen trainee that can improve with time, has an abundance of talent. He's going to be getting better. I think Stradale, that could be the case for him. I think Oscar's Hope is more of a blue collar, not the flashiest horse in the world, but he will run well for you, and he will always be around as long as he's in the right spots. I think he's in a good spot here to be competitive again. Those are 2 major players in race number 9, the Bachelor Stakes on Friday afternoon. 2 races later, race 11 of 12, the Lake Hamilton Stakes. Last chance for these older sprinters, these hard-knocking one-turn horses to get a stake win. Here's the field for that. I mean, Booth's in here. He won the Count Fleet last year. Dapper Moon, a recent allowance winner, a Louisiana bred against Open Company. Sharp Swinger, number 8. He won an allowance race. But the 2 runners I want to highlight in here are Zero Sugar and Tejano Twist. We'll start with Zero Sugar. Here's his last race. He's won a couple allowance races in a row. This horse ran second first time out to Cornucopian, who's a star. I mean, he's a grade 1 one-turn horse. He's running in the grade 1 Churchill Downs Stakes this weekend in Kentucky for Bob Baffert. Zero Sugar ran second to him sprinting. They tried him routing Zero Sugar 4 or 5 times, and then they cut him back to a sprint. And guess what? Even though he ran okay routing, he's a sprinter. He's really done his best work going one turn, so that's where Sippy Contreras, his trainer's keeping him at the one-turn distance. Zero Sugar has proven he can run well without Lasix. This is a stake, so he is running without Lasix here. Should get a good stocking trip. Manny Esquivel with the call here. I like this horse. He's always been a horse that has a lot of ability, and even though he hasn't been facing maybe quite the level that a couple of these others have and are in here, a Tejano Twist, a Booth. He hasn't beat horses like that. He's also beat very nice horses as well. And Zero Sugar, it's time for him to step up and really get a good class test here in the Lake Hamilton. Tejano Twist, he's the opposite. He's a horse that's been around a while. We know he's a sprinter. He's very much, I call him like the Zenyatta of sprinters. He's going to sit really far behind and make one run. He's a really fun horse to watch when he shows that explosive kick. He ran in the Count Fleet this year a couple weeks ago and did not run well at all. Never picked up his feet, did not show that kick. Got a fast pace to run into. It wasn't that contentious. He did get a fast and contentious pace to run into 2 and 3 starts ago. Here's the replay of his last win. This is what I want to see from Tejano Twist. Obviously, the pace with him is going to be important. We're hoping for a fast and contentious pace if we like him. He's going to be coming from far off of it. If he shows this kick, he's going to be just fine in a race like this. But the question is the pace in this race. Is he going to get it? And as a handicapper, you have to ask yourself that. And I think if you don't think he's going to get a great deal of pace, I think he's compromised by that. If you think the pace is going to be really fast and contentious like we saw 2 starts ago, then he's going to have a big chance to win this race. That's the Lake Hamilton race number 11 on Friday afternoon. Then we go to Saturday, 13 races, a super card. It's closing day here at Oaklawn. 147 horses entered, not including also eligibles. There were 154 entries total in 13 races. averaging out, when you take that 147 horse size, 11.3 horses per race. So we're going out with a bang here to end our 2025-2026 season. 4 allowance races. The Trails End's a really fun race. It's our traditional last race every season. They go 1 3/4 miles. A full field of 14 is entered there. But we're going to talk about the 2 stakes races on Saturday. We go to race 7 of the Lake Washita. Here's the field for that. Subsanador, he's the horse to beat in here for Richard Mandella. I don't have a replay for you to show based on copyright rules, but I will say this. Subsanador, he's a Grade 1 winner here. He won the, I think it's called the, it's not the Claiming Crown. It was a race that the Stronach Group, First Racing, had. I off the top of my head, I totally forgot spacing out what it was called, but the California Crown, that's what it was called. He won the California Crown, which was a Grade 1 race. He's a Group 1 winner in South America earlier in his career. I actually called this horse win the Philip Island Stakes, a Grade 3 at Monmouth. A couple summers ago. He's a really nice horse. He's the class of the race. Second start off a layoff. Probably wins if he runs his best race. He's going to be really tough. Ramon Vasquez, he's got the call here from the Mandella barn. But I'm going to show you 2 replays of 2 other contenders. One of them is Cole Battle. Here's a replay of his Rebel win last year for Lonnie Briley, Norman Stables. Cole Battle in this spot here with Corey Lannery, a Kentucky-based rider. He's in town to ride this one here. The question with him, he's not a big, physically imposing type of horse, but he has a good stride. He's always in the bridle. It's clear he likes what he's doing. The question I have with him, how does he transfer his 3-year-old form to his 4-year-old season? Is he going to improve? Are others going to catch up to him? Does he stay the same? He was not a top 3-year-old last year. He was in the second flight, ran some good races. I think he ran in the Indiana Derby and hit the board there and was close to winning in a Grade 3 there. He's that type of horse. He's a nice horse, no doubt about it. But he's also the type of horse that I feel like with a horse like Subsanador, off a layoff, it's going to be tough for him to beat a horse like that. And even a horse like First Division, who we'll mention in a second. But that being said, Cole Battle has worked the last 3 months or so prepping for this race. He was actually entered in a race, the Oaklawn Mile on Arkansas Derby Day. They scratched, trained him some more. So in terms of fitness, I think in terms of morning works, Lonnie Briley's got this horse as fit as he can possibly have him off of morning works alone. I question the clash. You just hope that maybe this is the type of race that it sets him up for something second start off a break. That's how I feel. I'm sure the connections just want to see a good effort. They'll get a race into him, and then second start, I think he'll be a little more primed up, ready to go. This is a tough spot for a horse like him to find a first start off a layoff. But Cole Battle is one we absolutely have to mention, as do we with First Division for the Kenny McPeak barn. Here's his last race. It was a good confidence booster for him. He'd run in some overnight stakes races here at the meet, and he has shown this hanging tendency the last couple of years. When there's a battle down the lane, he doesn't typically win it. He's got ability, and I think if he had that alpha male, I want to win mentality, I think you'd see a few more race wins on his resume. I really do. He's a good horse. But he got this win last time out off of class alone, running in an allowance race, getting that confidence booster. He's a well-bred horse. He's a sibling to a few different stakes winners here at Oaklawn. So First Division in the Lake Washita, he's one you want to watch out for as well. That's race 7, the Lake Washita, at the 1 mile distance. Our last stake of the meet, race 12, the penultimate race of the whole meeting, in fact, race 12-13, is the Arkansas Breeders' Championship Stakes. Here's the field for Arkansas-bred colts and geldings here going this distance of 2 turns. Now, interestingly enough, 110 Stadium, your defending champion is in this race. He won this race last year at a price. He's an old, hard-knocking horse. This year, he has not run back to his stakes win last year. But he seems to get better with time during a race meet. He's also one that on big occasions you see him a lot step up to the plate regardless of what his odds are. Keith Asmussen rode this horse last year to a stakes win. We find him on Hess for trainer Ron Westerman, which is interesting. This horse won a couple of weeks ago in a good race going 2 turns. And I'm the first one to say this is horse racing, not jockey racing. I believe, as Jinx Fires in an interview last week said, and I agree 100%, I've always had this motto, if you want to be a great jockey, the very first thing you have to do is be well mounted. You have to have the right horse. I'm not saying jockeys don't make a difference. They absolutely can. But I think that when you're a jockey, the horse makes a big difference. And then from there, if you have the right horses, then you're able to show off your skill through good finish down the lane, good decision making, making right moves, and being in the right mindset to where you're not flustered in big race situations. All these things, these qualities of being a great rider, you have to have the horse. Once you have the horse, if you have that ability to be a very good rider or a great rider, then you can show that skill off with the right horse. That said, all that said, Hess is a different horse when Keith Asmussen rides him. Some jockeys fit certain horses and vice versa. But whenever Keith rides this horse, he's found what makes this horse tick. He runs for Keith, and Keith knows exactly whatever it is to do to get this horse to run. So I think it's very interesting that he is on Hess. I'm going to be paying attention to Hess in the Arkansas the Arkansas Breeders' Championship Stakes, not the Natural Breeders' Stakes. Remember, the Natural Breeders' Stakes is for the fillies and mares. The Arkansas Breeders' Championship Stakes, race 12 on Saturday, is going to be for the colts and geldings. That's all of our analysis for Oaklawn-based content. I could have done a 2-hour show with you for all the great races we have here at Oaklawn this week. You need to pay attention if you are an Oaklawn race fan. This is a great, great week of racing. I'm fired up for it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday racing here at where the sun always shines, Oaklawn Park. We're going to take a very quick break. Don't blink too much. You're going to miss the second half here and that break. We'll talk about the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby in just a moment. Stay tuned. Look, I love Oaklawn Park, but we all know that this week, at least this week, Kentucky, the eyes of the racing world will be on Kentucky because it is Kentucky Derby week. There's great racing all week long, except on Sunday when everybody over there gets a well-deserved break. But we have the Kentucky Derby on Saturday afternoon, the Kentucky Oaks on Friday. Not only those two big races, big race cards, big stakes, lots of top-quality horses running, and a lot of Oaklawn-based horses over the winter that are running in big races there, including allowance races, maiden races. So it is a racing festival. Any fan who loves horse racing is going to be paying attention to Kentucky this week, and we are going to talk about just two races. The Kentucky Oaks, the Kentucky Derby. On Friday, it's the Kentucky Oaks. The fillies get their chance here. $1.5 million the purse. Here's the field for that. The Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks. They're going 1 1/8 here. Full field, not a surprise. Here's the field. We're going to scratch number 8, Bottle of Rouge. Came up with a cough a couple of days ago for Bob Baffert. Number 15, Lovely Gray for Dave Portnoy's Go-Go Gray Stables draws into the race. This was recorded on Wednesday, so subject to change. We could have another scratch, another horse drawing into the race. There's a couple more also eligibles in here. But I want to talk about a few of the runners that I like in this race. And my top pick in here, we're going to go towards the outside. Number 11, Percy's Bar for trainer Ben Colebrook. And Harrod's post 10 right now with the scratch of Bottle of Rouge. Her last 3 races, I mean, she's never run a bad race, but she won the Darley Alcibiades 3 starts ago at Keeneland in October before the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Horrendous trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. First of all, she was racing over a speed-biased track, wasn't close to the pace because she got bumped between horses at the start, had to take back to sit towards off the pace, got bumped around again on the far turn while trying to make a move, still ran third, and was closing on a track where nobody was closing into anything. Then she took time off, came back on April 3rd over a track we know she likes, Keeneland, where she won the Alcibiades, ran in the Ashland Stakes. Let's take a look at this replay here. Now, Zanny, who was the favorite in this race, really well-regarded runner for Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli. She had to go 3 wide, Zanny. Percy's Bar got the rail run and got a dream run up the inside here and took advantage of it. Good ride by Luan Machado, her regular rider who's back aboard in the Oaks. But she is very push button. She's very good. I think she's going to get a really good trip. I envision her as sort of like a Torpedo Anna type. I think that she's a runner that has some natural speed and can stretch it. I'm not saying she's as good as Torpedo Anna, but she has that type of running style. She does not need to be on the lead. I thought that last race she showed really, really good mind there. She relaxed. She was push button. She's going to have to work out a trip, but I think that she's going to get a good trip if she breaks. Post 10, she's going to be out of harm's way. She can be close to the pace. She can come from just off of it. I don't think there's going to be any excuses. I think the question will be whether she's good enough. But I think she's very much good enough. And she's always worked like a filly that's had a lot of ability. And I think she's even better now than she was as a 2-year-old, which is a great thing to see. Second start off a layoff as well. I think there's so many things to like about Percy's Bar for the Ben Colebrook barn. She is my pick in the Kentucky Oaks this year. Now, obviously, some Oaklawn raced horses are in this race as well. We will start with the Honeybee winner, Explora. Let's take a look at her win in the Honeybee. Outfinished Counting Stars, the next out fantasy winner, who's in this race, also not without a shot. Explora was entered in the fantasy, came up with a cough, had to skip that. Now she's training into the race. I hadn't run in a couple months here for trainer Bob Baffert, but if anybody can get a horse ready to go training into a race, it's Bob. Has worked her 112 and change out of the gate at a 7 furlong work at Santa Anita and 125, went 58 and 4 at Churchill Downs on April 26th that morning. This filly, she has never run a bad race. 4 wins, 3 seconds from 7 starts. Draws the rail in a big field. I think Flavian Pratt, a jockey like him, knows that with a runner that has speed like her, you don't want to get her caught bottled up behind horses. She can stalk. She showed that 3 starts ago in a 7 furlong race. She can sit off and run on. But he's going to have to make a decision early and commit to either getting her out there and showing speed or sitting in a pocket down on the inside. It's hard in a big field like this to wait for a couple horses, speed horses, to go ahead and then try to get outside. It's hard to do that. If he takes back, I think that's what he's going to have to try to do, to try to get some position so that he can get boxed in behind horses. But from a post position standpoint, she's a little bit compromised, a little bit of a, not the greatest post position in a big field. But at least it's not sprinting, it's routing, and he's going to have to make a decision early, Flavian, whether he wants to go towards the lead and challenge for the lead or stalk. That's why I think a horse like Percy's Bar, drawn towards the outside, she's got a little more option there. Explorer, though, I have no doubt she'll be fit and ready to roll. Do I wish she ran in the fantasy? Yeah, I wish that maybe she had a prep about a month, 4 or 5 weeks out. But nonetheless, Bob Baffert, he can get him fit and keep him fit off these freshenings here. So it'll be fun. Explorer, she's going to be ready to run well again, I think. Zanny, we mentioned her. She is one that has been showing a lot of ability for Todd Pletcher. And she has worked recently. I've watched a couple of her workouts, like a filly that is ready to run. Was undefeated heading into the Ashland, ran second to Percy's Bar. No excuses, was second best. I mean, I know she lost a little more ground than Percy's Bar did in that race. She was racing over a good track, so there was a little bit of moisture in the ground. Some people think that she maybe didn't take to that moisture, the track, quite as well as some other race tracks she's run over. I can maybe understand that. She is one that I will not leave off tickets. I think she's one you have to use. I know she's 4-1 on the morning line chalk, but she's not bad chalk. She's good chalk. Search Party, number 3. She comes here from Oaklawn. She won the Martha Washington here, was 4th in the Honeybee, 2nd in the Fantasy behind Counting Stars Christian Torres with his first ride in the Kentucky Oaks. I don't think she's fast enough to win this race. We've seen a lot crazier things happen than a runner like this win a race like this. She hasn't shown that she's fast enough to win a race like this. So if you use her, I think it's underneath. She's 30-1 on the morning line. I think that's a fair morning line. If she runs in a race here, she's going to be lower odds. This is the best of her crop. She appears to me like she's in that second tier. She's a good little stakes filly. Hasn't done a whole lot, Ron. She tries hard, has really improved her last few starts, in my opinion. I don't think she's fast enough to win this race. And drawn right next to her is Counting Stars, also from Oaklawn, a runner that can be very flashy. She's put up a couple of really bad races, just out of the blue, where Mark Cassidy, the trainer, just scratches his head. He said, what was that about? She trains good. And I'm not talking about ran 4th beaten 8 lengths. I'm talking about being eased basically in races where she just comes out of it with no problems and just mentally she didn't want to run. But she won the Fantasy last time out, ran a terrific race, even though it was a small field. I question the strength of that race because it was a small field. Search Party ran second. I mean, Counting Stars is facing a much tougher task here. She has to turn the tables on Explorer, beat some other good fillies in here. I like to play our Oaklawn horses, but I go with my brain. I think she's a play against here. I just question whether she is as good as maybe the Oaklawn form looks, because this is a tougher race. She's going to have to improve, I think, quite a few lengths to win this race. But if she does improve, and Mark Cassidy said actually the other day, if there's any runner I'm running at Churchill Downs this week that I think has the best chance to win, it's Counting Stars. She is training out of her skin. She's ready to run, and she is doing as good as I've ever seen her. She's working as good as I've ever seen her work. So that's a positive. She's versatile as well. Counting Stars, the Fantasy winner, she's going to be one we're going to want to watch out for. That's number 4. In the Kentucky Oaks, my top pick there is Percy's Bar in the Kentucky Oaks this year. Now we go to the Kentucky Derby, the big one, the 152nd running. Here's the field for that. So here's the thing. Oaklawn 2 years ago, Mystic Dan ran 3rd in the Arkansas Derby, won the Southwest. He won the Kentucky Derby. So 2 years later, here we go. We've got a couple of contenders in here. Very unfortunate news to start this discussion. Silent Tactic, who drew post position number 13. I was born on July 13th. 13's a lucky number for me. Some people, it's really not a lucky number, and unfortunately, this was not a lucky number for Silent Tactic. He has a bruised foot. It was announced on Wednesday morning he's been withdrawn from the Kentucky Derby, which is a bummer. He ran in all of our 3-year-old points races here, even ran in a 2-year-old points race here at Oaklawn. Christian Torres was looking forward to his first Kentucky Derby mount. We'll have to wait for another year. I actually texted him this morning. This is a game of highs and lows. No doubt, Christian, he's had a lot of success here. He rides for good barns. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be able to ride in the Kentucky Derby one day. Maybe it'll be next year. He will get other Derby opportunities, no doubt about it. So a little bit of a bummer for Christian and all the connections. And even for us here at Oaklawn, we like to see our Oaklawn raced horses run in big races like this and run well and perform well. He's out. They're going to try to point to the Preakness. A bruised foot, it can take some time to heal. It also, sometimes you see overnight they can heal pretty nicely. So it just all depends. They're going to try to point to the Preakness in a couple weeks with him. Silent Tactic, winner of the Southwest, will not go. That allows number 21, Great White, who's 1,300 pounds and change and over 17 hands, a massive gelding by Volatile. He draws into the race and subject to change. We could have another scratch or two, and there are a few other eligibles in this race. Let's talk about a few horses in here. We'll start with Renegade. Let's take a look at his replay here, beating Silent Tactic in the Arkansas Derby. Boy, this horse, he checks all the boxes. I've said it before. He's got a good mind. He's versatile. He's very push button. He's got a kick. When you ask him to kick, he gives a kick. You can actually see in his stride when Irad gives him a tap of the crop on the hind end there, you see his stride length. It increases. It quickens. He quickens. These are the types of running styles that Derby winners have, in my opinion. It's not often. You see it, but it's not often. If you're facing a good crop of 3-year-olds in the Kentucky Derby, a strong field in the Kentucky Derby, we won't know how strong this field is till down the road when we see them later in the year, maybe next year facing older horses. I don't think you can say right now whether we have a strong 3-year-old crop or not definitively. But a lot of times when you find a good crop, I think this is a good crop, and it's a good group of 3-year-olds. I think when you find that, you see horses that win these derbies have a kick. They're not grinders. Silent Tactic is a grinder to me. He's the type of horse that if he runs his best in this race, he picks up pieces. Renegade's a horse that can win this race. I know he's 4-1. He draws the rail. That's a terrible place to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You do not want to draw the rail in the Kentucky Derby. That said, a few years ago, they made a starting gate that has all 20 spots in the gate for the horses to break out of. It's one gate. For a long, long time, they used to have an alternative starting gate with the last 4 or 5 horses in a separate gate. I don't know what the science is behind this, but ever since they implemented that new gate that we have today, it's a little bit easier for horses breaking from the rail to deal with that. Here's a horse that's going to come from off the pace. I think he's versatile enough to sit close if he wanted to, but drawing the rail, I think their best chance here with a couple other speed horses in here, 6 Speed from overseas, and also Pavlovian. They're very quick. The pace should be decent. That's what we're projecting. I think Irad Ortiz is going to take this horse back and make a run. I'm not saying he needs to be 20th down the backstretch, but he's laying midfield, 12th, 15th, something like that. He can sit off, make his run. You just hope that at the start, nobody ducks inward, causes any sort of chain reaction where he has to take up. That's not what you want. If he can get a clean break and then take his horse to a midfield position, he's going to get that kickback. It is what it is. He's dealt with it. Yes, last time out we saw that. I still like this horse. I hope that his odds maybe go up a little tiny more with this poor post position. Irad Ortiz riding. Really like this horse. He's the real deal, I think. And I think if he gets beat, there's a good chance he gets beat because he doesn't get the best trip, whether it be because of the post, for whatever other reason. I think if he gets the right trip and runs back to his Arkansas Derby, he will be right there at the wire and he can very well win. And if somebody beats him, he beats him. But he's not bad shock, just like Zanny's stablemate, both trained by Todd Pletcher. In the Kentucky Oaks is Zanny. This horse is not bad shock. He's a really good horse, and I like him in this race. Another horse I like is Incredible for trainer Riley Mott. Now, this horse ran in a 1-turn, 1 mile and an eighth Virginia Derby. This horse won the Grade 3 Street Sense at Churchill. We knew he likes this track. Third start off a layoff here for Riley Mott, the son of Bill Mott. Let's take a look at his Virginia Derby replay here. This was an explosive win. He did not beat much in here compared to other Derby preps. That is a knock. Another knock is this was on March 14th. What, 7-8 weeks they've had to train him leading up to this race? You don't historically see that work. I like this horse. I know some people are trying to beat him. At first, I'm trying to beat him. I was trying to beat him as well. I think he's a really good horse, and I think he's going to get a good stalking trip. I've watched him work. He seems like he's working better than ever. Again, we know he likes Churchill Downs, a track that some horses really take well to, others don't. Incredibolt is going to be one that I'm using in my top 3. I'm using him on tickets. Jaime Torres, who rode this horse in the Virginia Derby over at Colonial, he's got the call. And he had a choice between this horse and Albus from the Riley Mott barn, who he rode in the Wood Memorial, did Jaime Torres, and Jaime sticks on this one. So Incredibolt, he's going to be my pick. A son of Bolt de Oro's always showed a lot of ability. Also, Chief Wallaby drawn right to his outside, adding blinkers today for Bill Mott. Lightly raced, just 3 starts to his name. He's lost narrowly behind Commandment for Brad Cox in the Florida Derby and the Fountain of Youth. This horse was right there with Commandment and the Puma last time out in the Florida Derby. But he didn't get the greatest trip behind horses. He looked like he was a little uncomfortable, was between horses, and then down the lane, he just didn't have the kick we needed to see from him. He didn't run by his company. Those are 2 good horses that beat him. But adding blinkers, he's been working super well with blinkers in the mornings, and I think a lot of people are on this horse for that reason. A lot of people liked him in the Florida Derby. He is one that I think has ability to run a little bit better than he has. Very raw, talented horse. If the blinkers help him be more focused, look out, because he's going to be stalking the pace, getting a good trip. He's tactical. He's got speed to put him in a good spot that's not too far away from the pace. If they want to put him far off the pace, they can, and he's going to be happy to do it. I think Chief Wallaby, like a lot of people, yeah, he's 8-1. He's going to get bet down lower. He's going to be an underlay in this race. I think a lot of people are on this horse, but he is a horse that is not a slouch. He is not a pretender. He's a contender, and he is one that all he has to do is improve a little bit more. He's right there for the win, and I think with the blinkers on, that could help him as well. Also, emerging market from the fairgrounds. This horse has only run twice for trainer Chad Brown, but Chad Brown has always talked about this horse as being something special, potentially. He's a horse that Chad would not throw him in against the Wolves here. He even said after the Louisiana Derby, I'm not going to throw him in the Kentucky Derby unless I think that he has a chance to win the race. And I think he's doing really well, 110%, and he's giving me signs that he can improve. And he's putting him in this race. And yeah, he's only run twice. I'm trying to beat him because he's only run twice. There was a horse named Taba who only ran twice or 3 times. A really, really nice horse. But it was just too much too soon for him. And I trust Chad Brown's judgment, but I think with a horse like him, it's a big ask. So I'm going to try to beat this horse, but I'm also not completely turning a blind eye to him. He's the type of horse that could beat me, and it wouldn't surprise me. And if Chad Brown, he's very patient. I mean, if he's putting this horse in this race, then he thinks that this horse is up for the challenge, which really speaks volumes. It says a lot. So Renegade, we're going to see Litmus Test. He did not run well here in the Arkansas Derby, ran 3rd as the favorite in the Rebel. He's our 2nd Arkansas horse who is running in the Kentucky Derby. Adding blinkers, a big price. He needs a complete form reversal to win, but his race with blinkers, or his work with blinkers at Churchill, was sensational in my opinion. His best work I've ever seen from him. He went 59 out of the gate. This was a really good work adding the blinkers, and he'd been wearing the blinkers except for last time where they took him off and he ran poorly. Maybe he just needs blinkers. He's going to need to improve substantially to be a competitor in here, but between Renegade and Litmus Test, we've got 2 Arkansas horses to root for. I like Renegade. I'm going to pick Incredibolt 2nd. I'm going to pick Chief Wallaby 3rd. Actually, I'm going to reverse that. Chief Wallaby's 2nd, Incredibolt's 3rd for me. And I think that this is a really fun edition of the Kentucky Derby this Saturday afternoon. All right, well, that does it for Out of the Starting Gate this season. I'm Matt Dinerman, the track announcer here at Oaklawn. It is an honor to be the track announcer here at Oaklawn, an absolute pleasure to take you each and every week through races. Thank you to all of our guests. We've had many interviewees that we've interviewed here, including Jinx Fires, We saw him last week. What a great guy. What a cool person. What a nice man. And a number of other interviewees. We interviewed Dan Ward. We've interviewed probably, 6, 7 folks. Zach Gillum was our first interview of the meeting. So we thank all of our interviewees for taking their time. Thank you to the fans who have been tuning into this each and every week, or even if you just tuned in today. And remember, if you'd like to see more of this, comment under this video and let us know what you'd like to see for next season, what types of people you'd like to hear from. And if you like Oaklawn content, press that like and subscribe button to tune into all things, not just Oaklawn, but around here, if you're in the area, the casino, promotional videos. We've got all of our race replays on Oaklawn's YouTube page, so make sure to like and subscribe to our page. And thank you to Madison Hardcastle, my colleague and partner in crime, who helps do all the behind-the-scenes action here. Madison did a great job. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great summer. I will be at Monmouth Park. Make sure to tune in there. And then next season, before you know it, we'll be back for season 3 of Out of the Starting Gate. Good luck. Have a great closing week, and we'll see you next year.